Hello and welcome to the ITSR Twisted Cup Tuesday nights live as always on MW Productions. Tonight we head to Michigan International Speedway for the second to last race here on the 2014 campaign, season number 2. And it is the Lions football, I hope, for the Super Bowl 80 from MIS. 80 laps going to be on the board. That's going to be 160 miles to go with the distance here tonight. Qualifying is halfway through a 20-minute open qualifier session as we welcome you into the broadcast booth. My name is Evan Posoko. John Higman Jr. right now sits up at the top of the speed charts, but again, still just under 10 minutes left for those drivers to try to put down that top time to start on pole position. Before we look forward to tonight's race, going to take a step back and look at our results. Last time we were out, we were at Watkins Glen International on the Cup course for 30 laps of road racing, and tire strategy coming into play late in the race. Stefan Marinak would be able to get that win after leading 21 laps. He would walk away with the number 1 spot. Bobby Terrell comes home in the number 2 spot. Nathan Little would come home in 3rd. Terry McEwen coming home 4th, and John Hensley, last car on the lead lap, rounding out the top 5. Josh Cheney would finish 6th. He was one back. Douglas Wyatt also one back in 7th position. J. Rondo Watkins, 8th. LT Sarabia in 9th. And Luis Rodriguez, 10th position, would come home 2 laps down. And you got to take a look towards the championship standings. You get only 2 races remaining tonight, obviously at Michigan, and then we move forward into next week's race for the Hold My Beer and Watch This Bristol Night race. 150 laps there of short track racing, and that race will close off the season number 2 here with the ITSR gang. So the points, not a lot of competition at the front of the field. This season so far has been dominated by Jose Gonzalez. He sits on 3 wins. That is the most. The second closest driver in wins column, Justin Wilson, sits with 2. And also another driver sitting on 2 wins is Bobby Terrell. But Jose commanding lead up at the top, having 10 starts on the season, 8 top 5s, 9 top 10s. Solid and very consistent for Jose. He's at the top by 55 points over LT Sarabia. 64 back is John Wilco in 3rd. Rich Jett, 70 points back. He's tied with Stephen Herring for 4th. Again, both those guys 70 points back. 6th position, Bobby Terrell. He's 90 out of it. 92 back is Scott Simley in 7th. Douglas Wyatt sits 8th. He's 96 points back. CJ Lavere, 100 flat back in 9th place. And then rounding out the top 10 in the points, 136 back is Ben Burnett. So Jose Gonzalez nearly with 2 races over the rest of the field here in the championship standings. 2 races remain. So Jose Gonzalez obviously looking for a solid result in tonight's race. Yet to put down a time in either the qualifying or practice sessions. And Jose actually just now hopping back into the server. So Jose going to try to get a lap down before we get going. But again, tonight, the Lions football, a hope for the Super Bowl 80 from MIS. 80 laps around the 2-mile D-shaped oval as we get set to go. Green flag racing here. Qualifying continue to tick down. But before we get started here, we're going to go down trackside now for the opening ceremonies.
New shoes, and I don't know where I'm going to. Silk suit, black tie, and I don't need a reason why. They'll come running just as fast as they can. But every girl's crazy about a sharp-dressed man. Watch, diamond ring. Well, I ain't missing on a single thing. Cornflakes, stick pin. Ask about I'm gonna do you in. They come running just as fast as they can.
Hey, look here, beavers. You better hide your wives, hide your husband, and look here, both of you hide your kids, cause we're coming.
But every girl's crazy about a sharp-dressed man. cone, top hat, and I don't worry 'cause my wallet's fat. Black shades, black gloves, looking sharp, looking for love. They come running just as fast as they can. Every girl's crazy about a sharp dress on. Make some noise! Clean shirt, new shoes, and I don't know where I'm going to. Silk suit, black tie, and I don't need a reason why. They come running just as fast as they can. Every girl's crazy about it.
And back live here at the Michigan International Speedway as qualifying is beginning to come to a close, less than 30 seconds left on the board. And we will officially have our field set for tonight's 80-lap affair at the Michigan International Speedway. Before we get going, we're going to talk some track statistics here in the Irish Hills of Michigan. Brooklyn, Michigan, capacity crowd of 72,000 fans can pack into this speedway for a race. The raceway itself, owned and operated by the International Speedway Corporation, broke ground back in 1967 and opened the following year in '68 for a construction cost of $4 to $6 million. Former names, the Michigan Speedway, that was from '96 to 2000, but the track itself, a very fast, the fastest track in NASCAR that you can get out here with these stock cars. 2 miles, D-shaped oval with that big sweeping left-hander on the front straightaway. 18 degrees of banking in these very wide and very long turns there. 18 degrees of banking in there. Also 12 degrees by the start finish on. Again, that's that D-shaped over the progressive left-hander there by the front stretch. And also 5 degrees on the back straightaway make up the track statistics. However, the qualifying has officially come to a close. The field is hitting the grid, and we're going to run you down through your starting order. On pole position, a time of a 38.512, besting his own time in the practice session. He was fastest in practice with a 58.522. He puts a 512 down in qualifying. That's going to be the 60 of John Higman Jr., the Eaton Construction Ford, is going to be on pole position. Scott Simley, the 68 machine, is going to qualify outside him on the number 2 starting spot with a time of a 38.551. Taking a look back to row number 2, third starting spot going to belong to Bobby Terrell in the number 7. CJ LeVert, the number 4 car, going to be starting in position number 4 outside of that row number 2. Stefan Marinock on the inside of row number 5, the number 5 starting position, rather inside of row 3, is where that 24 Exalta Chevrolet is going to roll off. Alongside him, the 51 of Terry McEwen, coming off the top 5 finish from Watkins Glen. That machine's going to start outside of that row number 3 in the number 6 spot. Josh Cheney, the 14 Mobil 1 Chevy, starts position number 7. And John Hensley, the 55 Napa Auto Parts Toyota, will start in 8th. J. Randall Watkins, the inside row number 5, the number 2 machine, starts in position number 9. And alongside him, L.D. Sarabia, the number 11 car, will round out the top 10. That is the Pringle Chevrolet. Also, take a look back through the field. Ben Burnett, the number 37 National Guard machine, is going to be starting in position 11. That's the inside of row number 6. Alongside him, the number 5 of Douglas Wyatt, Hippie Doug Wyatt, qualifying in position number 12. This is going to be the last car to put down a time in the qualifying session. Jose Gonzalez, the driver of the number 26 machine with the Puerto Rican Meatball Company on the hood, will be scheduled to start in position number 13, and was actually just not a racetrack and has gone off. So some trouble there for the 26. Jose Gonzalez not currently on track. He was scheduled to start in position number 13. John Wilco, the 62, will roll off in position 14. That's the outside of row number 7. And then rounding out the field, scheduled to start is Rich Jett. However, Rich Jett still battling some connection issues, has dropped connection to the sim a handful of times and attempted to reconnect also, and has since again dropped out. So some sort of connection issues there for Rich Jett out of Pennsylvania. The number 36 entry not on the racetrack right now and not in the sim as we pace down the back straightaway. So Jose Gonzalez has his car back. However, he's going to have to start from pit road. So championship leader going to be starting a couple seconds behind of this lead group of cars here. And again, 80 laps. So that 26 is going to be hoping for a caution to get caught back up. Rich Jett not here, so this is going to be a 14-car field, 13 of them on track, trailing that iRacing Ford First Mustang pace car as we get set to get things kicked off here in the Irish Hills of Brooklyn, Michigan. John Higman Jr. wishes the field one final good luck as the pace car gets set to dive down to pit road. That 60 is going to be the control car on this start. Pace car down to pit road. The 60 is in control. The field slowly starts to punch up behind him, waiting on it multiple seconds. The green flag now flies, and we're racing the 68, not with the best start. That's Scott Simley on the outside. At a 60 of John Higman Jr. going to lead him down into 1. Through 1 and 2 and down the back straightaway, it is the 60 Eaton Construction Ford up front. Scott Simley trails him by 1 car length. That battle going down the back straightaway for the number 1 position. Everybody else inside of the top 10 and throughout the field, single filing out. Some early problems for the 37 of Ben Burnett. That National Guard entry has some front end damage after a checkup on the start of the race. The 32 found the back end of the 2 machine of J. Randall Watkins. So the back end of the 2 as well as the front end of the 37 going to get some damage from a checkup on the start of the race as those cars sit outside of the top 10. As we run right now, still John Higman Jr. up front off of corner number 2. Down the back straightaway again, Simley about half a car length back more than he was last time around. It's about 1.5 car lengths down into the corner. Bobby Terrell rides comfortably in 3rd. And again, the 4 car of CJ LeVert after starting in 4th continues to ride around in the number 4 position along with Stefan Marinack. So nobody in the top 7 could change position swap that we've seen since the start of the race. John Hensley, who started 8th, has dropped back to 10th. And LG Serabee, who started in 10th, has swapped positions with him. But top 7 cars on the track remain in the same positions that they started out this race on. So only one car, one lap down already. That is Jose Gonzalez after starting from pit road after not making the grid. He was actually on track for the grid and disappeared from the racetrack, had to exit out. He actually returned to the racetrack on pit road, maybe a strategy call from Jose. I know he didn't qualify in the incident on a comfortable points lead, so all he has to do is survive tonight's race, and it's all locked up moving forward into Bristol to close out this season number 2. So nonetheless, Jose is the only car one lap down. John Wilco, the last car on the lead lap, the number 62 Chevrolet, rides about 4.6 seconds back from John Higman Jr. And Higman actually starting to pull a little bit of time on Scott Simley. Now down to back straightaway, 68 tries to get back up to the back bumper. Again, a little bit of a draft in effect here on the straightaways. Position change for the number 7 spot. Josh Chaney with some trouble after Rodney in 7th. The opening laps, he drops back to the number 10 spot. And J. Randall Watkins, the number 2, working that rear end damage after spinning his tires on the start. The number 2 machine moves up and takes that number 7 spot as they continue to run right now. But single file, clean and green for these opening laps. As again, everybody rides around at the moment, single file down to back straightaway. Again, a long race. These guys know that they're going to have to pace themselves. A relatively condensed field size at 14 cars entering tonight's race. So Higman continuing to lead and actually starting to pull over Simley. The last time by the start-finish line, the gap was 18/100ths of a second. Going to get an update on that this time by. It's going to go up to 33, so nearly doubling his lead is the 60 machine up at the front of the field. But 80 laps in the works here tonight. That's going to be the distance before we get that checkered flag at 2 miles per lap. Again, 160 miles. Not going to win it in these opening laps, but you can definitely lose it. Side by side now for position number 7. The 55 have to get back out of it. And now John Hensley, as he pulls back in line, the 14 of Josh Chaney wants a piece of that. Chaney down to the inside through corners number 3 and 4. He clears the 55. He's got a great run on the 2 of J. Randall Watkins as well. Slides up and they make contact. The 14 of Chaney sideways at a corner number 4. He hangs on to it. After he nearly gets down and into the grass, he'll hang on, but he will lose several spots. He drops back to position number 10. Just after it looked like he was about to clear J. Randall Watkins for the number 7 spot, he ends up sinking back to 10 after getting a little bit too hot heavy and nearly made contact with left rear of that 2 machine through corner number 4. So Chaney will settle back in the number 10 position. No change inside the top 5. But expect the move to be made by the 55 of John Hensley. He wants a piece of the 2 of J. Randall Watkins. He goes for it in 3 and 4. Door to door, side by side, the 55 slides up out of the corner. Can he clear the 2? Yes, he does. And move John Hensley now up at the number 7 position. That time by the drivers completing lap 7. They take lap number 8. And John Wilco, again, the last car on the lead lap, continuing to slide back. It's now an 8-second increment between him and our race leader. Higman started to pull away from Simley not too long ago. Simley has since closed that back in from an access of 3/10 to just under that, at about 2/10 back from the top spot. But looks like Bobby Terrell, the Muscle Milk Chevrolet, going to be trying to make a move here. His tires starting to come in with some heat in him, and he is actually closing very rapidly on the Fearless Racing machine of Scott Simley. Simley and his Ford starting to drop back and not really losing ground on Higman. He actually picked up 3/100ths that last time by. But Terrell beginning to close at a rapid pace. Bobby Terrell running out there on the racetrack the fastest laps, actually 2/10 quicker from Terrell in 3rd than John Higman Jr. up the front of the field that last time by. But we'll have to see what Bobby Terrell is going to be able to do. We have a 3-car battle, all bumper to bumper. That is position 7th through 9th. Watkins, Hensley, and Serabee dropping out of that. Actually, the 55 of Hensley now going to go through the 11 machine of LG Serabee. Going to put the move on the 2. J. Randall Watkins going to lose that position. So LG Serabee is going to come to buy the stripe this time through. He'll take position 7. Watkins back to 8. And John Hensley will settle back at a position number 5. But again, up front, The top 4, top 5 still continuously battling. The top 5 remain within 8/10. And now we have the battle for second. Terrell to the inside of the 3, the 68 with a hand out the window, lets him on by. And now the 68's going to have momentum. Does he look for a crossover? No, he backs out of it. That could open up the door for CJ Laver. Does Laver go for it? To the bottom, not quite going to get a nose there yet. And now John Higman Jr. slow up at the front of the field. And he's down to the apron. The 7 of Bobby Terrell's going to take the point. Now the Eden Construction Ford all of a sudden out of nowhere, losing speed down that front straightaway. Terrell going to go to the number 1 position. The 60 machine slides back to 2nd. And then Scott Simley sits in 3rd. And the 24 of Stefan Marinak is going to move up a spot. So CJ Laver, after thinking about making that move, had to back out of it, and with doing so, didn't get the arc that he needed down into the corner. He drops back now to position number 5 behind Marinak. As again, the top 5 continue to race within 4/10 of each other. If you want to find 6th position, Terry McEwen, you got to look in excess of 1 second back. And from there on out, 7th on pack, over 5 seconds out of it. So top 6. Very close together, 1.2 seconds separate the top 6, top 5, only 7/10 as they continue to ride around. Single file, Bobby Terrell to the point. Again, John Higman Jr. now caution. 1 car around, it's the 37 of Ben Burnett out of corner number 4. That's the 37 who we saw pick up some damage on the start of the race. And taking a look at the replay, just a bobble by Ben Burnett in the middle of the corner. Went to correct it, and in doing so, ended up spinning that machine, had to turn the wheel to the right a little bit to try to compensate that, and ended up spinning that machine out at a corner number 4. Caution flag will fly as Bobby Terrell sits on the point. And it looks like Ben Burnett will lose 1 lap. Jose Gonzalez also 1 lap down to 26. Currently sits in a position to take that lucky dog, as Ben Burnett will take the responsibility for that yellow. He claims it by putting C into the driver chat. So 37 taking responsibility for that. 12 cars on the lead lap as we run right now, and expect pit road to be open this cycle through with the caution flying on lap 12 right now. The field has gathered up behind of Ace cars. They work through corners number 3 and 4. Terrell, Higman, Simley, the top 3. And again, expect to see them all come down pit road in order to get some more fuel and obviously some fresh tires as they look forward in tonight's race to get down to about 68 to go. Terrell going to lead him down to Muscle Milk Chevrolet. All indications so that he's going to come down pit road, and he does as he enters pit road, gets up to the cones at 55 miles an hour, the fastest pit road speed in the stock cars here, matching that of Daytona and Talladega. The 60 of Higman Jr. drives it in hard there, gets on the brakes once they get to the pit road cones. And the 60 machine about half a car length off. Do we see any tire strategy early is going to be the question. Terrell, after qualifying 30, has to pull into the number 3 pit stall, so this could work to the advantage of the 60 machine of John Higman Jr. because he has that number 1 stall on pit road. All cars taking the right side tires, now left side's going up as well. Terrell's going to be the first one to complete service. Does Higman beat him off? No, he does not. Bobby Terrell going to hang on to that spot. He wins the race off of pit road. 2 machines that have stayed out. Ben Burnett stays out after being 1 lap down. And another machine that is staying out right now that currently is the race, John Wilco, who was the last car on the lead lap, stays out. And that could very easily be to get a bonus point. And that 62 could come down this next time by. But we're working our first caution of the race. We're going to step away, take a quick commercial break. You're watching the ITSR Twisted Cup Tuesday nights, the Lions football. A hope for the Super Bowl 80 from MIS. More after the break. Back live here at the Michigan International Speedway, live on MW Productions. It is the ITSR Twisted Cup Tuesday nights, the Lions football, a hope for the Super Bowl 80 for the second to last race, the penultimate race on season number 2, the 2014 campaign for the ITSR Cup Series, and a comfortable points lead for Jose Gonzalez entering tonight, sitting on 3 wins, 55 points over LD Sarabia, who sits second in championship standings. Sarabia actually still searching for his first trip to victory lane, hoping he can get the Pringle Chevy there. Sarabia is going to be restarting this start in the number 6 spot outside of the number 3 row. Jose Gonzalez last car on the lead lap after starting from pit road, got the wave around. He sits 13th. Only machine off the pace is Ben Burnett. He's 1 lap down after causing that caution. Bobby Terrell, after getting the lead from John Hickman Jr. just laps before the caution flag flew, the Muscle Milk Chevy will be the control car on this restart. Pace car, sharp left-hand turn down to pit road. Field is in the hands of the number 7. When does Terrell decide to go? Now he's on the gas just moments before the green flag flies from the spotter stand. He's off, and he already clears the 60 of Hickman Jr. down the front. At corner number 2, battle's going to be for the number 2 position. Stefan Marinak down to the inside. That is with the 60 of John Hickman Jr. on the outside, trying to hold off. The Exalted Chevrolet is John Hickman Jr. He does so into 3, slides back in front of Stefan, and now out of the corner. And again, single file for the top 3, but still only half a car length or less separates second and third. Marinak to the apron. Hickman Jr. rides the low lane, as the rest of the field single files out for the most part, side by side for 7th. CJ Lavera around John Hensley, the 14 of Josh Cheney, trying to capitalize on that one as well. They're going to get door to door. That's going to translate to a battle for the number 8 spot, and that's Cheney on the bottom, the 55 of Hensley on the outside lane. And now up front, side by side for second. Marinak through and clear of John Hickman Jr. So that is the change for the number 2 position. We are also side by side for 4th. Scott Simley going to get that spot away from Jerry McEwen. And now the battles continue to single file out the 62 machine. John Wilco around the 2 of J. Randall Watkins. Jose Gonzalez trying to do the same. The 2 machine just not getting the speed that he needs. That's J. Randall Watkins again having that damage fixed after getting some of it on the start of the race. Back end's a little torn up after qualifying none. But J. Randall Watkins doesn't have the speed he needs. Now side by side for the lead. No, Marinak thinks better of it. He ducks back in line and stays on the back bumper of Terrell. As that went down into corner number 3. Now Terrell with a great run off. Marinak not so much. At a 60 machine trying to capitalize on that, was unable to do so. That remains, but a car length down the front stretch. The 68 of Scott Simley with a run now. He wants to put up a battle for the number 3 position. Can he do it? No, not into turns number 1 and 2 this time by, as John Hickman Jr. actually puts a great run and gets to the bumper of Marinak. Can't do anything with it, and John drops 3 car lengths back at a corner number 2. Down the back straightaway they go. Some bumper to bumper traffic back in the pack. The 14 of Cheney is on the back of CJ Lavere. That is for 6. Neither of them try to step at the line quite yet. And now Marinak gets a second shot of it as Terrell slides fly off the corner. The 24 car down to the inside, all the way down. He uses the apron advantage to Bobby Terrell at the stripe. Can the 7 hold off the Exalted Chevrolet down into the corner to the door, through and clear? As Stefan Marinak is going to go to the point. He's bringing that 60 of John Hickman Jr. with him. Terrell on the outside lane now, down to back straightaway, trying to keep a nose on the quarter panel of the 60. Can he do so? Just barely, and now down into 3. The 60 should and will very easily clear that number 7 of Bobby Terrell. So Terrell going to go from position 1 now back to 3rd after 1 lap of racing, as Stefan Marinak again riding that Jeff Gordon number 24 Exalted Chevrolet paint scheme on his machine, goes to the point 10. He will take over the number 1 position. John Hickman Jr. continues to ride around now 2nd, has not dropped outside of the top 2 all race long. His Eden Construction Chevrolet rides right there, and then again Bobby Terrell drops back to the number 3 spot. Scott Simley there as well. Terry McEwen only 3/10 back from Simley, 7/10 back from Marinak, is the number 5 place driver, and in 6th on back is just over a second. And the top 8 only separated by 1.5 seconds as 13 cars remain on the lead lap. 62 of John Wilco once again finds himself the last car on the lead lap. 62 machine actually had a spin at a corner number 2 back on lap 20. Was able to keep it off the fence. No caution flew as he spun down to the very wide and vast apron down the back straightaway. And in doing so, he was able to spin that machine around, keep going, but a caution flag did not fly, so Wilco finds himself 20 seconds back. And now trouble for Douglas Wyatt, the number 5 machine. That Chevrolet is down pit road after the 5 machine caught the outside wall in corner number 2 back on lap 22. Douglas Wyatt, as the field cycles through this time by, is going to lose at least 1 or 2 laps as Marinak now finds himself with company. The 60 of John Higman Jr. is starting to close into the back bumper, and now the 24 pulls some more ground down into 1 and 2 as it is Marinak, the number 24, on point on lap 24 as 1/4 of tonight's race already in the bags as they continue to run down the back straightaway now. Ben Burnett is going to go 1 lap down as it was before, but now Douglas Wyatt not currently on track after he was in his stall for repairs. The number 5 machine has been pushed behind the wall. Wyatt will fall to 14th and dead last on the charts. Top 11 only separated by 5 seconds. Marinak continuing to try to hold off John Higman Jr. Higman obviously going to be able to utilize a little bit of a draft there as he rides around in the number 2 position. It's about 2 car lengths at a corner number 2 and down the back straightaway once again. Bobby Terrell starting to slowly slip away from those top 2. He was 4/10 off of them that last time by, but still well within contention. Again, it's very easy. You can overdrive this corner. You don't let the front of that car rotate around before you pick the throttle back up, and you'll be going way out wide. You're going to have to get on the binders there at a corner exit, and that's a similar situation to what we saw happen at the 60 of John Higman Jr. The just before, about 3-4 laps before the caution flew. 60 just overdrove corner number 4. John Higman Jr. slid back to 2nd, and the caution flew, and that's how he found himself back off of the number 1 spot. He's then cycled back to the number 2 position, but again, it's very easy to do that. We saw him do it, so Marinak needs to, the 24 needs to make sure that he can stay composed. The 60 is going to try to get up in his rearview mirror and create some pressure, maybe force a mistake out of that 24 camp, but Marinak still looking strong up at the front of the field. He leads this time by once again, but again, John Higman Jr. never dropping more than 1/10 of a second back. It's a car length down into the corner. We're bumper to bumper for 5th through 7th. That's Terry McEwen, CJ LaVere, Josh Cheney. Cheney kind of backs out of it down into 1, but those 3 cars only had about a couple of feet for separating all of their bumpers there in a big single file train. And now we're going to go side by side down the back stretch. CJ LaVere down to the inside, the number 4 Chevrolet down to the bottom. The 58 McEwen's going to slide back on the top. Now battle back on corner exit. Does LaVere slide up to clear him? No, he does not. But the 14 of Cheney really driving it hard. Nearly gets into the left rear. After the 51 of McEwen slides wide and nearly takes down the turn 4 wall. He's able to keep it off of it, and that car continues to be pointed the right direction. But Cheney got in there real hot and heavy, trying to capitalize on maybe a little bit of a checkup from the 51, and nearly put it in the fence. As now Cheney looks down to the inside. That's going to be down the back straightaway. That is the battle for position number 6. Cheney through and clear. The 51 sticks the hand out the window again, waves him on by. Cheney going to move up to the number 6 spot. Terry McEwen is going to drop back to 7th, but Cheney nearly catches the wall again, and a common collective 51, and McEwen's going to drop down to the inside at the stripe, advantage to the 51 by just 1/100th of a second. And now that Toyota, the Jimmy John's Toyota, is going to clear Josh Cheney. Terry McEwen going to put a crossover of sorts on Cheney there, and Cheney sideways again off the corner, tried to give it a little bit more wheel to try to use that run to his advantage and stick it nose out to the inside, nearly put it in the fence, but he is able to hang on for the time being. But yet again, another close call for Josh Cheney, the Mobil 1 Chevrolet. He's really driving it hard, and again, nearly gets the fence there. So only 29 laps into this, Josh Cheney not afraid to put the hammer down and try to give it some throttle, making passes However, it's nearly cost him a couple of times. His car still stays in good condition for now, but some aggressive driving from the 14. He's going to take another crack at the 51 at a corner number 2. Once again, going to be side by side for the number 6 position, down the back straightaway. These cars, again, continuing to go at it for about 5 laps. The 14 clears him. We saw the 51 do this last time as he get the crossover, trying to work a run, and this time it looks like the 14 is going to make it stick. Yes, he does. Josh Chaney through and clear. He now has sole possession of the number 6 spot, has about a car length and a half over Terry McEwen as they go down now in the corners number 1 and 2. Top 4 starting to pull away for the rest of the field. They have about 5/10 separating them. You got to look over 1.2 back until you find CJ Lavere, the number 4 machine, in the 5th position. So top 4 trying to put some time down on the rest of the field, trying to pull away with it. John Higman Jr. has since gone back to the point. Stefan Marinak sliding back to 2nd. That pass was made about 3 laps ago as we trace the battle back in the pack. So Higman back to the top spot, and now the 24 of Marinak letting everybody go by. Terrell through and clear, the 68 of Simley through and clear, and now Marinak is going to drop back to position number 4. After again leading this race not too long ago, the Axalta Chevrolet drops back to 4th. Marinak started this race in 5th and was up front and was able to lead laps, but now that Higman Jr. back to the point, he's going to continue to try to knock off some laps, so that obviously shooting for the bonus points that are going to be up for grabs for leading the most laps. So that's what John Higman Jr. is going to want to be shooting for as he rides now up and has about a half a second over Terrell in the number 2 position. Again, how about Bobby Terrell on the season? The Muscle Milk Chevrolet has had its fair share of solid outings, and Terrell entering tonight, starting 8 of the 10 races before this, sitting on 2 wins, 6 top 5s, and 7 top 10s. So only 1 race has Terrell not made the top 10 in a race that he participated in again after 8 starts. Out of the 10 races that have been completed, again, tonight's race is race 11 on season 2, segment 2, whatever you want to call it, of the 2014 inaugural ITSR campaign. Only 1 race remains out of tonight. Tonight after Michigan, we go for 150 laps under the lights in Bristol for the Hold My Beer and Watch This Bristol Night Race 150. That will be next Tuesday night, same time, same place, live on MW Productions, where we get set to crown what many was going to expect, Jose Gonzalez, who has a commanding lead up at the top of the points. Many people expect that it is going to be the 26 machine that is going to be crowned champion for segment number 2. Jose continuing to run right now 9th place in tonight's race as they continue to log a lot of green flag laps. These drivers came down pit road for service under our one and only yellow flag on the night. That was lap 14 that they came down for service. Lap 14 crossing over to lap 15. So these drivers just now exceeding 20 laps on their fresh fuel and fresh tires. So closing in about 5 laps short of the halfway point. John Higman Jr. continues to lead. We're going to step away once again, take another quick commercial break. When we come back, we will be at the halfway point and we'll give you an Exo Sanitary Services full field rundown. You're watching ITSR Twisted Cup Tuesday nights on MW Productions. More green flag racing from MIS after this.
In a world where survival is the only rule and feelings have no place, where winning is everything and weakness is fatal, how much difference can one person make? That depends on the person. In every life, there is a line that cannot be crossed without leaving everything behind, except faith. Once that step is taken, there is no looking back, and all that lies ahead is destiny. There is no looking back, and all that lies ahead is destiny.
Back live at MIS, and as you saw there, as we were side by side, Bobby Terrell, the number 7 Muscle Milk Chevrolet, has gone to the point. He leads the halfway point at Michigan, and we're going to give you the Axo Sanitary Services full field rundown here with the ITSR Twisted Cup Tuesday nights at MW Productions. Once again, my name is Evan Posoko in the broadcast booth here this evening, and we are halfway home in tonight's 160-mile, 80-lap affair. The leaders currently working lap 41 as they go through turns 3 and 4. And as they run right now, Bobby Terrell once again, has gone to the point. You saw that there under the commercial break. He started third. He now is up front leading laps. John Higman Jr., our pole sitter, fastest in practice, fastest in qualifying, is second fast on the racetrack right now. He rides in the number 2 spot. How about Scott Simley, the 68 Fearless Racing Ford Fusion, sits in third. Terry McHugh in the 51 machine coming off a solid finish at Watkins Glen. That Jimmy John's Toyota sits in fourth. LG Sarabia second in the championship standings and still searching for a first trip to victory lane here in Season 2. The 11 car rides around and rounds out the top 5. He sits 5.4 seconds back from the top spot. Jose Gonzalez, the Puerto Rican Meatball Company on that car. The Chevrolet rides in 6th place. And again, he is entering tonight's race on a 55-point cushion in the championship standings. John Hensley, the 55 car, sits 7th. That Toyota started in 8th position. J. Randall Watkins, the number 2, sits in 8th. John Wilco, last car on the lead lap, 35 back and in major danger of losing that lead lap soon. It's going to be a big threat for him as he slides into the clutches of our leaders, just about 5 seconds behind him, and he will lose his lap as a 62 way up to the fence. The leader is going to go by him right now, so John Wilco going to drop 1 lap down. That leaves us 8 drivers on the lead lap. Josh Chaney now going to be the second car, 1 lap down. The 14 machine rides in position number 10. CJ Lavere also 1 lap down. The last car 1 lap down in 11th position. And then recently retiring Stefan Marinak, the number 24 Chevrolet, who was up front leading laps, came down pit road in some outstanding circumstances. The car did not appear to have any damage, but some circumstances maybe outside of the sim caused that 24 car to be forced to pit road. He has taken it behind the wall, so has Ben Burnett. So Stefan Marinak going to come home in position number 12. Ben Burnett's going to round it off in 13th place, and Douglas Wyatt 14th. So the back 3 runners have retired. 11 cars remain on track, 3 of which, again, sit 1 lap down. Now the 62 of John Wilco is going to bring his machine down to pit road. And again, currently working lap 43. Wilco hitting the pit lane for service. Going to have to see if this is going to be a scheduled green flag stop or not. Just now putting 30 laps since that machine was last down pit road. He pulls into his stall and taking a look to see if they're going to roll it behind the wall. Looks like he is getting 4 tires. So John Wilco short pitted now. Caution flag is going to fly. Trouble on the track is the 14 of Josh Chaney. That car has been unstable all race long. And trouble at a corner number 2, the 14 machine. As you saw before in his mirror, tried to give it a little bit too much. A self-spin out of the corner, got down to the apron and thought he had it saved, but that apron is not as smooth as the racing surface and hit a couple of bumps there. And as he tried to pick the throttle up once again, came right up and nearly took out LD Sarabia. Just squeaking through that one. The Pringles Chevrolet is going to get some damage on the left front of that, and Sarabia goes through the grass, but the 11 machine going to get damaged, but it could have been a lot worse. As now we group them up again. John Wilco was on pit road getting his service when the caution flag flew. He sits 1 lap down, and scoring is going to cycle through this time by the start-finish line. And again, it shows that he is still 1 lap down, so he'll try to stay out, get a wave around, and we'll be on fresh tires, and will once again be on the lead lap. Over the 62 machine has not been showing the speed that he's been looking for tonight. Only 10th quick in practice, did not post a time in qualifying, but leaders going to bring down pit road once again. Bobby Terrell leads them in. Can John Higman Jr. capitalize? They go 55 miles an hour, no more, no less. Terrell leads them down. He will have the number 3 stall on pit road. John Higman Jr. for qualifying on pole is going to have the number 1 stall, the last one down there and closest to the stripe and the scoring loop. we'll see who wins the battle off of pit road, so we'll see if the 60 can capitalize on that. Terrell through and clean, kind of an awkward entry for Scott Simley. Simley pointed awkwardly towards the pit road wall. That's going to cost him some time when he tries to get out. The 7 of Terrell pointed perfectly. 4 tires and strategy call, John Higman Jr. The first car off of pit road, not because he had the number 1 stall. That is a 2-tire call. As he goes to the point, Bobby Terrell is going to exit second. But again, he will be the first car on 4 tires. So we'll see an interesting strategy call by John Higman Jr. Not like he was 7th back of the pack and was in desperate need of some track position. Entered second, comes out first. But he is looking and he's going to be working for 2 tires, looking to see if he can make that work, as he will be the control car coming up for this ensuing restart. So Higman is going to be in the number 1 position. Josh Cheney does claim responsibility for that incident. Again, he collected LD Sarabia. LD getting some damage repaired down there on pit road. However, looks like still working left front and left rear damage on the 11 Pringles Chevrolet. LD obviously entering tonight second in the championship standings. As again, the top 11 do remain out on track. John Wilco actually going to lose his lap once again. He's down for service. Josh Cheney comes down for pit road now. He was the last car on the lead lap because he ran in front of our leaders. Unfortunately, going to have to come down pit road, so I do believe that's going to cause him to once again lose his lap. CJ Lavera comes in once again to top off here. The 4-placing Chevrolet comes down. He will once again take a swing at some service here. No damage, I don't believe, on the 4 of CJ Lavera, but as they run right now, CJ entering pit road as he ran in the number 9 spot down there. So he's going to come in, looks like, for more tires and service as he gets set to exit. Terrell, again, up at the front of the field right now, and that is because John Higman Jr. had to come back down and decided that he would give up that number 1 position and came down for 4 tires. After again pulling a strategy card for 2 only, came down for 4. That's going to cycle him back to the tail end of this group of lead lap cars. And looks like that did not work out, to say the least, in the way that John Higman was hoping for. But obviously we've seen a couple cars come down, maybe trying to top off and stretch this fuel. We have seen drivers, and we saw the one machine come down to kick off our green flag stops, the 62 of Wilco, who sits in his stall maybe for damage. The 62 machine down there for some sort of service. But we saw Wilco kick off green flag pit stops just the moment the caution flag flew. That was exactly 30 laps of green flag racing after they last came down under the first yellow. Now working our second yellow flag of the night. Drivers coming in to top off a handful of times. Lights still on the pace car. We were expecting to go green with maybe 30 to go, depending on what happens with those lights this time by. Take a look to the field. Don't see any other takers this cycle through. And the lights on top of the pace car are going to remain, actually, they're going to be extinguished. So 1 to go for the restart. We're going to go back green flag racing. It will be lap 50. That is going to be 31 laps to go in this race. Bobby Terrell is looking to match a Jose Gonzalez best of 3 wins this season. Going to walk you down and let you know who has won races so far, and also interested enough to note John Higman Jr. entering tonight's race. He sits 8th. He's only made one other start, and he went to victory lane in that one. Picked up a W. Justin Wilson sitting on 2 wins so far this season. He's 16th in the championship standings. When we say this season, we mean season number 2. Season 1 completed earlier on in the 2014 campaign. In the second set of 12 races, season 2 coming to a close soon. But Justin Wilson was able to walk away with 2 victories. Marinak sitting on 1. CJ Lavera also sitting on 1 win. Bobby Terrell on 2. And Jose Gonzalez again up the top, the only driver sitting on 3 trips to victory lane. And also Jose with the most laps led of 351. Nearly 50% of the laps that Jose has turned here in the second season he has led. Not tonight, however. The 26 laying it easy. He'll start inside row 4 in the number 7 position. We get set for our third start of the night. It's going to be our second restart off of a yellow 3 if you include the drop of the initial green flag. Bobby Terrell is going to get his second crack at things, is in control of this field pace car. Gets set to take the sharp left-hand turn time down to the safety of pit road. There it goes. Terrell in control. When does he go? He went about a second before the green flag was thrown last time. Same strategy this time. Through it. He's off by the stripe. Off of corner number 2, Bobby Terrell stretches out an opening lead of about 6-7 car lengths over Scott Simley, who rides second, Terry McHugh in third, and a big cluster of cars for fourth on back, side-by-side for fourth, and side-by-side for sixth. The 60 of John Higman Jr. from 7th to 4th. On one lap coming off the restart, the number 60 Eden Construction Ford is going to move up the board and scoring going to cycle through this time by the stripe. The 60 machine does take 4th position. LD Sarabia singles files out behind him for 5th. And now J. Randall Watkins, the 2 machine, is able to complete a pass at a 55 of John Hensley. That is the battle for 6th. Hensley coming back, however, off of corner number 2, again to 55, Napa Filters Toyota. Took a look to the inside, couldn't quite get the job done, tucks back in line for the time being. And now Josh Cheney, the 14 machine, coming down pit road under that last caution flag, took service, and in the 14 crew elected to push his machine behind the wall. His night is done. 10 cars remain in this race, one of which is John Wilco, who continues to sit down in his stall. He's now in excess of 3 laps down after coming down for some extent of service, and has stayed down there since and has continued to drop off the lead lap, not showing any signs of coming back to the racetrack soon, and don't see any striking cosmetic damage or damage that's visual from the outside to see if that would be the reason why he's down there. But the 62 machine having, again, some sort of circumstances, and we've seen drivers, Stephen Marinak, Glenn Burdett, just pull off the racetrack after rotting around even at the lead lap, the tail end of it having to exit the sim within laps of each other. And that's the thing about sim racing, is there can be circumstances that exclude the race that can cause you to have to get off the track and go deal with some issues, because life does get in the way at some point. So we've seen a handful of drivers exit early, and several of them, it did not appear to be from damage. However, some of these guys, if things just don't go your way and you're really not in a heated points battle, might just want to call the night off early. But with that being said, John Wilco is going to return to the racetrack. He's 3 laps down at least. He goes down to exit on lap 49. Leaders come out of corner number 4 to take lap number 54. So about 4 or 3 laps down. And it does cycle through. John Wilco is going to be 4 back in the number 62 Chevrolet. He is the last place car on track and the only car on track that is not still on the lead lap. He rides again 10th spot. CJ Lavere, the last car on the lead lap. The number 4 Chevrolet, the Mobil 1 designed machine, sits 9th place, 15 pack. But the top 3 within 4/10 of each other, about 2 car lengths separate them all from each other, and an even spacing from 4th through about 8th spot, as top 8 separated by 3.4 seconds as they run right now on the racetrack. And again, a lot of green flag racing, something that these drivers like, and we're approaching, and we were approaching green flag stops over caution flag flew once they officially got kicked off by the 62 machine. So both trips to pit road tonight have been made under yellow flag conditions. These drivers trying to stretch that fuel load 31 laps from the drop of the green flag, throw caution in there, and they had a couple of laps on that fuel. So say 32 laps is the mark that these guys are going to try to stretch this fuel till the end. The only real strategy that we saw, and the only fuel mileage we saw, was Wilco, who pitted exactly 30 laps after his initial stop. So these guys trying to stretch 32 of them as Terrell again continues to lead, and Simley actually been putting up a good battle on him these last few laps, as that 68 machine was able to get to the bumper, didn't do anything with it. Terry McEwen's going to lose the spot because the 60 of John Higman Jr., again, working that 100% or 1,000 success rate. 1 start, 1 trip to victory lane so far, as again, he rides right now in position number 3, and almost immediately gets right up to the back bumper of the 68 of Scott Simley. That's about a half a car length, and now a car length as the 68 pulls some ground off the corner. Higman's going to go down to the apron, utilize that. That is fair play. It is not a double yellow line. It is in the corner. You see the yellow line. You cannot pass below that yellow line in the turns, but on the front straightaway, the white line does signify that you can go down and you can use that apron. It is white down the back straightaway, but I do not believe you can pass below that on the apron down the back. But the front straightaway is fair play there. That apron, you'll see a lot of guys get down there and get those tires close to the grass, kick up a little bit of dirt, some dust there if they get too close to that front straightaway grass. And Victory Lane also located on that front straightaway. You can see it there. So this is one of the few tracks that I raced in, and if you win it, you can go down. You saw it right there, John Higman Jr. kicking up some dirt. But this is, again, one of the tracks in iRacing, one of the minimum amount of tracks in iRacing. You can actually pull into Victory Lane and do some burnouts there and get your interview done from Victory Lane here, as that is accessible from the front straightaway grass. We are side by side for second because Higman wants to get to Victory Lane. He's been climbing after starting 7th on the restart, has already advanced up to position number 3 and trying to put number 2 spot away from Scott Simley. He's trying to put the moves on him here. He's about a half a car length off at a corner number 4 as his Simley trails Bobby Terrell up in the front of the field by 2 car lengths. Is the gap between the top 3. Again, Terry McEwen also sits there relatively close in the number 4 spot. As a lot of green flag racing. LD Sarabia down pit road. The 11 machine in the fence at a quarter number 4. No caution. As the 11 machine spun it off the corner down into the grass. And after he tried to get that machine back going, actually spun it out on the front straightaway and nearly collected the number 4 of CJ LaVere. The sim not throwing the yellow, not sure why. That wreck was on the racing surface. However, it did appear that because he was getting back up to speed, the field was down to back straightaway. No caution thrown by the sim and race officials, not deciding that the circumstances be outstanding enough for them to manually throw a yellow. So we stay under green flag conditions. All lead lap cars are within 4 seconds of each other, and actually Jose Gonzalez is going to make a pass for 6. J. Randall Watkins back to 7th. Those are the last 2 cars on the lead lap, 4.2 seconds back off of our leader. The second and third last cars rather on the lead lap, 6th and 7th spot. Jose takes 6th. Watkins drops back to 7th. The only car that's not in that top 4 second split with those drivers is CJ LaVere, who sits 15 back, last car on the lead lap. Top 4 on the racetrack separated by a mere 0.7 of a second. They continue to ride around, and John Higman Jr. has to be careful. Again, he continuously is trying to put a move on Scott Simley. That Fearless Racing Ford 68 of Simley has been riding second place for the last handful of laps. John Higman Jr. trying to put a move on him, but he has to be careful, and now they kind of spread out at the corner number 4. This is the furthest separated we've seen these top 4 in a while. They've been bumper to bumper for quite a handful of laps, sticking in and out of lines, trying to make it work, but Higman had to be careful because as he was up there aggressively in the back bumper of Scott Simley, Simley may not have necessarily been checking his mirror and yielding to where that number 60 machine is. So the 68 of Simley, he was trying to battle with Terrell, and Higman nearly got into some trouble a couple of times there. Would get right up to the back bumper of the 68. 68 may not have been paying attention because he was trying to maybe back up the corner a little bit, trying to make a move on Terrell. So that's one of the things that you have to keep in mind. But Simley trying to do whatever they can do. They now put another lap on LD Sarabia, who will drop 4 laps off in the lead lap. That makes him and John Wilco both be 4 laps down as they run. Wilco actually just now losing another lap. The field goes by through 1 and 2, and they single file out. They all use one groove up. You can see 5 distinct paved grooves here on the racing surface. Obviously not all of those raceable. You can put the car there. If it sticks, that's a different question, but you can see the seams in the way they paved the racetrack, and most of these guys running to the upper side right there in that second groove of asphalt. Sideways is Scott Simley through the corner. He's easily able to correct it, but in doing so opens up the door. John Higman Jr. to the outside and clear for second. Terry McEwen wants some more action at the 51 Toyota. Takes a look to the outside. Simley still holding the inside down into 1 and 2. 51 has to use that third lane up, can't make it stick. Simley through and clear and hangs on to third. But now we see John Higman Jr. pick up 5 spots off of restart, go from 7th to 5th in just about 20 laps there. And that number 60 machine now gets to the number 2 spot. Can he do something with Bobby Terrell is going to be the question. The gap was 3/10 the last time High that is asked. The 60 was putting the move on Simley for the pass. This time, scoring's going to cycle through, and a 10th clicked off. Higman running a 39.22.9. Terrell a 39.326. So nearly exactly a 10th knocked off. Terrell, his lead has been cut to 28 hundredths, 285 thousandths of a second. So 0.2 is the gap between that. The top 4 continue to be separated by a mere 7/10ths. So we saw it there with Simley, is you can't get too comfortable to the point where you're willing to lose concentration, lose that focus. You just make a little bit of a slip up, and we've seen a lot worse spins, self-spins, cars getting sideways off the corner than what Simley did. Simley just got a little bit out of it, had to get out of the gas, roll out of it, get back to it. He was able to save it, but because these top 4 continue to ride again within 7/10 of a second of each other, as they have done for the last 10 plus laps, is even that little mistake, the slight correction that he had to make, opened up the door for John Higman Jr. And now John Higman Jr., after trying to make a couple of moves on Simley, maybe that 68 was holding him back a little bit again. It's one thing to catch the guy, it's another story to make the pass. So I do believe the 60 was stronger, but he was not able to pull together a whole move and get enough momentum to get enough speed to put a move on Scott Simley. Kind of got stuck behind him now that he's out in clean air, trying to catch Terrell. He made up some good ground in 1 and 2, lost a little bit of it in 3 and 4. It is 0.24 seconds, the gap between the first and second spots. Simley dropping back to 5/10ths back it out for the first time in 15 laps. Terry McEwen goes from 7/10ths back to 8 as the top 4 slowly start to separate. But to show you how competitive the top of that field is, again, top 4 within a second of each other. Jose Gonzalez, the first car out of that mix in 5th, is over 5.6 seconds back. Championship leader working a little bit of damage on his Chevrolet in the number 5 spot. Hensley continues to ride 6th. J. Randall Watkins 7th, and CJ LeVere now 19 seconds back, nearly half a lap back is LeVere, the last car on the lead lap as they run. Again, if you're just tuning in, you're watching the ITSR Twisted Cup Tuesday nights, intensely twisted sim race, as always on MW Productions. And tonight, race 11 here at the Michigan International Speedway, past the halfway point. And want to thank a couple of people that make things happen over here. Axo Sanitary Services, obviously Hippie's Paint Shop, painting a lot of the cars, the designs that you see out on track. Here, obviously MW Productions, us pushing the stream tonight. Quick Car Racing Products, some of the names that make things happen here. If you want to find out any information, go to its-racing.com to be able to check them out on their iLeagueRace.com page for more information. Only one race remains out of tonight. We're going to be going to the high banks and the short track of Bristol Motor Speedway for 150 laps in 1 week's time, always on MW Productions, to close out the second segment here in the second season on the inaugural ITSR 2014 campaign. It just now seems that the 51, his tires are catching up to him. Terry McEwen has dropped now a second out of it. Top 3 remain only separated by 4/10ths, that time by the start-finish line. We have 11 laps to go. Going to step away for our final commercial break. When we come back, we'll bring you to the checkered flag at MIS. Back live at the Michigan International Speedway down to the closing laps as Bobby Terrell sits out in front by 0.2 of a second over John Higman Jr. John Higman Jr. searching for his second and Terrell searching for his third win on the Season 2 campaign here in 2014. You're watching the Lions football, a hope for the Super Bowl 80 from MIS. It is the second to last race, the penultimate race in the second segment of 2014, and it is El Jose Gonzalez in the championship standings. He rides sixth right now on track, but the story is going to be the race for the win here in the Irish Hills of Michigan. Terrell, 0.2, but Higman knows it's go time. This time by the start-finish line, they will take 5 laps to go. Terrell pulls a car length, now 2 and now 3 at a corner number 4, a solid exit by the Muscle Milk Chevrolet, and he leads at the 5 to go mark. The gap is a .202, 202 one-thousandths of a second. Top 3 remain separated by 0.7. It was the top 4 by that margin. However, in these last few laps, as we looked there, and it was under the commercial break, and as we went side by side for a moment, Terry McHugh in the 51 machine has since dropped to 3.1 seconds back in the number 4 spot out of contention for this. And as Terrell leads this time by, which marks 4 to go, if a caution flag is to fly from this point on, the race is going to end under yellow flag conditions, and that would end it. So John Higman Jr., well aware of that, trying to put the Eaton Construction Ford Fusion into victory lane, knows that it's go time, but he continues to wait. He continues to try to patiently set up that move. He had some trouble getting by Simley. He was faster than Scott Simley a couple of laps ago, not by a lot, but just edging out that 68 in lap times. But once he got to him, he was unable to complete the pass. Now same story. He's closed in on Terrell now to 153 one-thousandths, so under 0.2, and it's 1/10 is the gap between them. You see a car length and a half at a corner number 4 separate the top 2. The 60 has been struggling to find a way to complete the pass. This time by the start-finish line, he takes another 2 100ths out of it at 3 laps to go. In this race, LT Sarabia, again, still searching for his first win. Second in the championship standings is the first car off the lead lap. He is 5 laps out of it as they continue to run right now. And we had some trouble back in the pack, trying to get some confirmation on what that was, but it looked like the 62 of John Wilco was up in the fence, and the 62 of Jose Gonzalez nearly took him out as Jose continuing to cycle through to put him a lap down. 2 to go. Up at the front of the field, Bobby Terrell leads it with 4 miles to the checkered flag. John Higman Jr. is going to try to dig for it. Can he get there in time? He loses some ground through 1 and 2 as the gap was once again increased to 15 hundredths. Now down the back straightaway, you see the 60 start to close it in as he works that draft here, and they go into 3 and 4 for the second last time. The 60, he's going to close it in. That's Higman down to 1 car length. Now it separates back to 2 out of corner number 4. And Bobby Terrell, the Muscle Milk Chevrolet, 2 miles to victory lane. White flag in the air here at Michigan International Speedway. Bobby Terrell, after starting in 3rd, is trying to wrap it up. Our pole sitter is trying to give it one last ditch effort to get to the number 1 spot. Through 1, now out of 2, and down the big long back straightaway. Bobby Terrell now pulling 2.5 car lengths on the 60 of Higman, and into 3 and 4 for the final time. The 60 is going to drive it in real hard. He's got to pick up the gas. He's not going to be able to do it in time. The 7 car not going to get loose. He stays in the throttle at a corner number 4. And for the 3rd time this season, Bobby Terrell across the stripe to victory lane. The Muscle Milk Chevrolet is going to finish P1. John Higman Jr. comes up 0.2 short on that one and will walk away with a 2nd place result. Scott Simley will round out the top 3 as it comes to a close after 80 laps. It is Bobby Terrell able to walk away, and now he ties Jose Gonzalez for most wins on this second 2014 campaign segment. 11 races now completed, and both Terrell and Gonzalez sit on 3 wins apiece. Only 1 race will remain out of tonight's, and Jose Gonzalez with a solid finish in 6th, and the next closest competition in the points 9th. The 26 essentially will wrap up that championship battle and secure that for moving forward. And Bristol only going to be just a race where he can just go out there and have a little bit of fun with it, as all drivers should under the lights at a short track next week. But these drivers, again, just completing the race, we're going to give them a moment to get back to their crews there and wrap up their night. So we're going to step away again just for a quick moment. When we come back, we're going to talk to the top 3 finishers and get you set for next week's season finale. Again, you're watching the ITSR Twisted Cup Series on MW Productions.
Hi, I'm Todd Malmstrom, driver of the 75M Ford Mustang GT. This is what I do by night. And this is what I do by day. I sell new Fords, and I've got the best selections of used inventory that you could ask for. Come see me down here at Central Ford.
Are you tired of getting hassled at the dealerships? Looking for a salesman that knows what he's talking about? Are you looking to buy a new or used car? Then look no further! Sexton Ford Moline, Illinois has the biggest selection of newer pre-owned vehicles, and Todd Malmstrom is the salesman you want. Todd is an expert when it comes to cars, and if you don't believe me, then you should see him race on a Sunday night. With his top-notch professional customer service and expertise, he will make sure you go home in the right car for the right price. No hassle, no haggling. Todd will make sure that you're happy when you leave the lot with your newer pre-owned vehicle. Remember, Sexton Ford may be the talk of the town, but so is Todd Malmstrom. If you're in the market for a new ride, then buy one from a winner. Todd Malmstrom at Sexton Ford Moline.
Back live at Michigan International Speedway as tonight's 80-lap affair comes to a close, and we're going to get an opportunity now to talk to our top 3 finishers in tonight's race. First, going to have the opportunity, we're down on pit road with the driver of the 68, Scott Zimley. Scott, you started tonight's race second. You ended up coming home third, and you were hanging on there in that lead battle there for those closing laps, but when it was all said and done, you slipped back a second and was unable to put up a fight for it. Where were those guys faster than you closing down to the finish?
I don't know how much faster they were, as much as they could probably just manage tire wear a little bit better. I was trying to, in practice and everything, I kept wearing my right front out, and I'm still doing that, but just finding that balance of it's tight in the center, but then it's loose off. So at the end there, I just think they can manage their tires better, and I keep trying to work at it, but they keep getting me a little bit. There at the end too, I caught lap traffic there. That kind of caught, I probably lost 2 or 3 tenths catching lap traffic there on the coming out of 4, and that hurt me a little bit. And then I think I scraped the wall, which might have even did it too. But they're good racers. It's tough to keep up and run with them.
Tonight marked your 9th start in the second season here in the 2014 campaign, and 9 starts, it's going to be your 8th top 5, your 9th top 10, but have still yet to get that machine to victory lane. Moving forward here for the final race on this season, it's going to be Bristol next week. What do you think you and your team could do to translate all these top 5 finishes and solid efforts into a trip to victory lane?
Boy, I don't know, Bristol, that could be interesting, but I like the track. I love Bristol. It's fun to go there. It should be interesting, and we'll just have to see and try to get some practice in and see how it goes, but it should be exciting.
Before we let you go, we were taking a look at that number 68 Ford all night long. Who makes it happen for you and the crew?
I think Hippie's Paint Shop, putting a nice design on there and spraying her up, Milwaukee, and you guys for doing the broadcast. Do a great job, Evan and Michael, and thanks for doing a good show.
Well, it's nuts like tonight when we saw a lot of green flag racing. That makes our job up here a lot easier because it's easy to call a race when we see a lot of green flag and a lot of exciting action. So we thank you for the kind words, and we look forward to seeing what you and that 68 team can do moving forward here to Bristol next week. Again, congrats on the top 3.
Thanks, Evan.
That is our third place finisher, Scott Simley. Now going to take a moment and slide down on pit road. One more stall over. We're down with the driver of the number 60, John Higman Jr. John, you started on pole position. Terrell, you put up a fight there at the end. What was the difference that kept you back in second?
Quiet. Too quiet.
No, it's screwed up. They changed 2 tires and my pit stop there. So I come back or something like that. And try to drive back up there, and by the time I got there, I didn't have anything for him.
It was a well fought out battle, and we saw Scott Simley there when you were riding behind him in the 68. You were able to get up to him. It looked like he had a little bit of a faster car, but you were able to get to the bumper and not complete the pass. 68 had some problems. You were able to get up to second. Looks like you were able to get to Terrell, but again, just not enough. You didn't get enough momentum to get the pass done. Was that what was going on there? Were you just getting a little bit of aero push behind the car? What was the difference?
Yeah, I guess it was some aero. Yeah, I mean, the car drove great until you got about within a car length of the back bumper of the guy, and then it just handled really poorly. But up to that point, it handled better than you would if you were in the front. So it was kind of odd.
And definitely for sure on that one. Entering tonight's race, one start, one trip to victory lane. This one not going to translate to that, but a second place finish. Do you plan on running Bristol next week?
Possibly. We'll see how it goes. Yeah, that's about it. I don't know. Don't have any plans.
Fair enough. Before we let you go here, you guys put on a good show up front. We're taking a look at the Eaton Construction Ford. Who makes it happen?
I'd like to thank Eaton Construction, of course, and the guys here at ITSR for putting this thing on. It's always fun to do. And you guys for broadcasting the race, and Hipsy's Paint Shop for painting most of the fine cars you see in today's race.
Once again, congrats on the top 2 finish, putting on another show in tonight's race, and good luck moving forward. Hopefully we'll see you again next week.
Yeah, thanks.
That is John Higman Jr., the number 60 machine, after starting on pole position. 2 starts, 1 win, and tonight comes up 1 position short from going back-to-back trips to victory lane in 2 starts. He comes home in second spot, and now down in victory lane, Bobby Terrell going to tie our points leader for the most wins on season number 2. 3 times now we've talked to you, Bobby, down here. How did you manage to hold off that 60 in those closing laps to put this muscle milk Chevy in victory lane?
Well, I was really hoping that John used up some of his stuff. You know, he had to pit again because he forgot to get tires, and I was hoping he used up a lot trying to get back up there. So I think that helped me.
Walk us through the strategy entering tonight's race. 3rd fastest in practice, 3rd fastest in the qualifying session. I know the 2 trips that we made to pit road were under caution flag period, so 4 tires both the time. So it kind of took a little bit of an element of that kind of strategy out of play. But you were able to get it in victory lane, and you did not lead every lap. So how'd your race go down?
Well, I mean, I just started 3rd and just wanted to take care of my stuff, hoping that we would have, long run, and we did. So I think we had a caution early on, and then we had a long run, and I got into the lead there, and then, like I said, on that last caution, I took the lead back over, and of course it helps having track position, and then just stayed out front, just had that clean air.
And entering tonight, you're the highest placing driver in the points that has not been able to start all 10 races before tonight. You're only able to start 8 so far tonight. Is going to be your 9th start, and it translates to your 7th top 5, and obviously your 3rd win. Moving forward, there's 1 race left, and that's going to be Bristol. Are you planning on competing in that race, and if so, how confident are you moving into that one?
I don't have any idea yet. Like I said, y'all said it, I missed a few races. My mom had a heart attack, and I just had to miss those, but I'm not sure about Bristol yet.
And real quick, before we let you go again, 9 starts and 3 trips to victory lane. Again, the only person to match that is Jose Gonzalez, who leads the points. What's been the difference, do you think, between you and the other drivers that you've been able to translate these good runs into trips to victory lane? What have you been able to do to be able to capitalize on these opportunities?
Well, we've had some long runs, and that plays to me. I like long runs. I like taking care of my stuff. I think that's helped in this league, just the longer runs. And then I'm figuring out this, car a little more. The more I drive it, I'm figuring more out.
Obviously, we see Muscle Milk on the side of it again. Before we let you go, sponsors and shout-outs. Who do you want to thank and who makes it happen for the crew?
Hippie's Paint Shop, Muscle Milk, of course. You guys up in the booth for doing such a good job, and ITSR for putting it on.
Once again, Bobby, congratulations. 3rd time to victory lane, and good luck moving forward. We'll see what you can do next week.
All right, thanks.
That is Bobby Terrell. For the 3rd time this season, the Muscle Milk Chevrolet is going to make a trip to victory lane. Bobby Terrell will finish P1. Before we step away, going to walk you down through the full field. Again, a full field rundown brought to you by Axo Sanitary Services. Bobby Terrell walking away with the victory. John Hagman Jr. coming home in 2nd position. Scott Simley in 3rd. Terry McEwen coming home in a 4th place finish. Again, back-to-back top 5s for the 51 crew. John Hensley, the Napa Filters Toyota, in 5th. Jose Gonzalez comes home in 6th. J. Randall Watkins, 7th. And C.J. Lavere, last car on the lead lap, in 8th. LD Sarah B at 9th, and 10th position, John Wilco. Josh Cheney and these cars on back exiting tonight's race early. Cheney 11th, Marinac 12th, Burnett 13th, Douglas Wyatt, Hippie Doug Wyatt with Hippie's Paint Shop 14th, and Rich Jett not being able to take the grid. He'll walk away with the 15th place result with a DNS. That is going to do it for tonight's broadcast. Again, race 11 here, the Lions football, a hope for the Super Bowl 80, comes to a close with Bobby Terrell making a 3rd trip to victory lane. Thank you for tuning in on MW Productions. For everybody on behalf of the crew, obviously MW, Michael Woolley down in the production holler, pushing the buttons and getting us on air. My name is Evan Pizzoco. Once again, congratulations to Bobby Terrell, and we'll see you 1 week's time when we go racing from the Bristol Motor Speedway. The Hold My Beer and Watch This Bristol Night 150 is all that's left. Thank you for tuning in, and we'll see you next week.